In this video, we will deal with text. What is a text? The term text comes from the Latin textus, the past participle of the verb textere, meaning to weave. This etymology immediately evokes the image of a text as a woven fabric of words, something that gives form to writing, works, and documents. Like any product of human activity, texts are affected by the passage of time. They are created, they change, and sometimes they are lost. Philology deals precisely with the life of texts. That is how they evolve over time. Even though we are used to recognizing the marks of time in visual art, a fresco, damaged by damp, a mutilated sculpture, or a collapsed building, and we accept a restoration as a necessary practice for preserving these works, when it comes to literary text, we often lack this awareness. In fact, when we read a work from the past in a modern edition, we tend to assume that what we hold in our hands is exactly what the author originally wrote. But actually, such a text is often the outcome of a long and complex process of reconstruction, carried out by scholars who have made critical decisions, verified sources, and corrected potential errors. To understand how this process works, we first need to examine the materials on which texts are written. Even before sequence of words, every text exists on a physical object, such as papyrus, parchment, paper, or a digital screen. And this material form plays a crucial role in how the text is preserved and how readable it is. A precise knowledge of the material media through which text has been transmitted is essential to philology. For these reasons, the first week of this MOOC is entirely dedicated to exploring physical writing support as vectors of texts. We will begin with ancient manuscript, then we'll analyze the invention of movable type printing, and finally, we'll turn to modern manuscripts and digital texts. To begin this exploration, let's examine some physical objects, concrete examples that illustrate how support for writing have evolved over time, influencing the form and function of the texts. We start by looking at this ancient manuscript, which is bound in rigid parchment, a material commonly used throughout the Middle Ages. As you can see, the cover bears the marks of the time, creases, stains, and natural wear. The parchment, once supple, has stiffened and warped slightly, giving the book its characteristic curvature. The binding is simple and functional. If you look closely, you can see the thread stitching that holds the gatherings together. As we open it, the manuscript reveals pages of handwritten text, copied line by line in dark ink. The handwriting is steady and clear. This is not just any book, but a unique, entirely handmade object. Let's move now on to a key innovation in the history of text, the invention of the book made by printing press with movable type. This is a beautiful example of an Aldina edition, printed in Venice at the beginning of the 16th century by Aldo Manuzio. This small format volume is designed to be both portable and accessible. As we open it, you can see the fine, thin paper and the elegance of the typeset text. On this title page, Aldo's famous printer mark is clearly visible, an anchor entwined with the Dauphin, a symbol that becomes iconic in the history of publishing. The edition contains Cicero's letters to Atticus. And if we look closely, we notice handwritten marginal notes alongside the edges of the pages. Headed by 16th century, these postils show that printed books continue to evolve in the hands of their readers, inviting interpretation, commentary, and personal engagement. Next, we analyze modern manuscripts, where the author's hand leaves visible traces of a creative thought. In this case, we are looking at an autograph letter written by Giuseppe Ungaretti, written in his own hand, tangible sign of the author's presence and individuality. Finally, we end with digital text, represented here by an e-book reader, a device that exemplifies a new phase in the life of texts, one marked by mobility and instability, where the role of the reader is crucial.